I gotta tell you something, Rachel, all right? It's not intended to be mean. I have a purpose. You don't. And if you think that's some sort of blessing, it's not. It puts me at a huge life disadvantage. It means I have an obligation to see a very specific thing through. And with that obligation comes sacrifice, okay?
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work out?
That doesn't even enter my consciousness.
All right, guys, let's take a look at this here. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take let's take a look at what's going on right now in the markets here. Let's first take a look at news. Probably my biggest priority right now is like news to see what's going on here. And then what we'll do is go from there, okay? Let's take a look at calendar. Let's see this week here. Let's see how crazy this week is going to get, to be honest. Okay, so right now we have, let's look at high impact data for right now. Biggest news events are going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. We have NFP obviously coming in hot already. Expectations and forecasts. Wait, no, non-farm payment annual. My bad. Non-farm payment roll is next month. Okay, next Friday. ADP employment change this week. Consumer confidence is actually already coming in. It's higher than expected. It's actually not too bad. It's actually great for markets because the dollar will rally, stocks will probably rally as well with this. So this will be bullish here for markets on Tuesday. In terms of, let's say, core PCE, this is a big indicator of inflation. So we'll probably see markets or assets move to the downside for sure if it's higher than expected. Inflation is not necessarily the best thing here that you want to see in the markets here, right? You don't want to see that. You really don't, right? So if lower than expected, obviously gold and all assets will rally. Gold primarily my favorite pair and main pair that we would want to see run, okay, to the upside, right? So we would witness that and then experience that for sure. Let's go into the next section here, which would be durable goods, growth Q0 Q2 Eastern 1.5%. Already coming in lower than expected. This is bearish for markets. So we have bearish news a lot on Wednesday. This is bearish here. This is bearish here. Non-farm changes here. Revisions. Interesting. This will give us good insight to see kind of what's actually happening with the job market here, because it'll give us a rough estimate. So let's look at COTs here from obviously the other day. Very curious to see the differences that happened on Friday when these were released. Obviously, CAD orders are getting stacked, AUD is getting stacked, GU, Euro, and NZD have no flow. Crypto still bearish orders, and share open contracts are still a lot bearish, a lot more bearish for crypto. Let's look and see if rates were changed at any moment in time. Heat map. Probably see rates stay they'll probably stay the same here for sure. September 16th. October, the chances of us having a rate hike has gone down dramatically. Probably from previous news events, right? Previous news events has led to that. What I'm looking at next here is, let's take a look at for this flip challenge. I'll be using Trade DNA the entire time. I'll start a brand new account and we're going to be doing the flip challenge with Trade DNA. Okay, guys? So that's going to be the flip challenge is going to be obviously next week on Monday. We're going to start. We're going to be trading consistently together. Going to be really cool. Obviously, we see some breaks of structure still with Dixie. I honestly probably see markets pulling back just a little bit, mitigating here, and then dumping. What does that mean? Most likely, we're going to see this here for Dixie. Markets are going to rally. We're buying back bonds. We're buying back our own treasury yields, to be honest, with something as dramatic as that. You're gonna see price get lowered here. Last week we called sells on Thursday. That went really good. Very proud of myself on that. Even Friday's move was a direct breakdown of that. We haven't made a lower low yet. So what that tells me is most likely this pull of order flow slowing down. With Dixie also kind of getting ready to jump, I'm looking for more buys than sells here, specifically. I don't like how price has sharply rejected this area and pushed to the upside here on the 4 hour. I really don't like that. I do see some form of accumulation happening here. Swipes the liquidity to the upside, to the downside. This would have been terrible to trade this morning. Thank God I didn't trade this. Most likely though, we're gonna dump and then run. That's what I'm hoping for. obviously I see us having a huge swipe of liquidity here, and then probably after closing above and then running most likely. So that's a big, very big area I do want to go kind of see. Seeing how price reacts to this specific zone where there's a volume stack of orders here, that is where we're going to take a look at most indefinitely here. Okay. Just like this here, you see now you're seeing the Dow Jones reflected first. Very curious to see what the Dow does here. Looks like it wants to dump first and then run. Still in order flow. It's kind of delayed behind SPX. Let's look at NAS. Yeah, NAS doing that dump that we talked about also on Thursday. So everything we talked about on Thursday, Friday really did happen, right? We talked about this movement here, buying back up and then selling off. My zones are very accurate here. What I'm looking at is price. Because we're still bearish here, we're gonna see price come back to this zone. The scary part of this here, and I'll tell you this with US 30, usually I think this area is like close to almost has gotten hit. What that means is if it's dumping down, should mitigate and then run, and it should have a big rejection candle like this. You see this candle rejection like this? That's what you want to see. The prop you lift off, and you want to see price starting to close and trade above the wick zone. When price hasn't traded above the wick zone and it's still moving lower, it's a very bad sign. Okay, it's a sign that liquidity is still being hunted, for buy side liquidity is still being hunted in this zone. And regardless, even though there's been a slowdown of those orders, price is going to continue most likely to go downward, and it might even break this zone. We might come back here. Okay, and evidence and proof of that happening with NAS is not uncommon. It's happened here. See this? It's happened. It's happened here. It's happened here. 1, 2, 3 previous examples of the same thing. I think sell side liquidity is going to be targeted, and NAS is probably going to go lower before it goes higher. So it's in a short zone. Russell, similar story. Let's look at gold volatility. Ugh. The VIX here looks like it's going to increase. You see this here? Gold is nowhere near finished. Thirty-year yield still coming lower. That might be a good sign here for markets to move. Wow. Called oil here. Oil's back at that zone where it might run. I want to just see something real quick here. Yeah, US oil is gonna run, guys. Oil is gonna run. Like, and it's if what I think is gonna, the US has so many fucking problems right now. Right now they have issues with their treasury. They have issues with oil. They have issues with US with inflation. They have issues with what's going on in Japan. The US is really, really, really in a very weird spot right now. Now, some of you guys might be saying, well, John, if it's been a bad spot, why are the markets still going up? Because when you buy back your own treasury yields, okay, of course you're causing inflation. The market isn't going up. The S&P isn't going up because it's more valuable. It's going up because the dollar is becoming worthless. That's what's happening here, okay? To answer your question, that's why the markets are still going up.
Russia does its special military operation in Ukraine, February of 2022. Within 3 or 4 days, oil went from about 75 to 120, and it sat there for about 5 months because the world was worried that we were going to be missing 3 million barrels per day of Russian oil that would be sanctioned. Now, it turned out within 3 months, we figured out, oh, well, there's this workaround, and they had dark tankers, and India bought it. And so, okay, it came back down. But that, just the worry that 3 million barrels a day was going to be taken off the market, gave us that about 60% increase in price right away, okay? This time, we're missing 13 million barrels of oil a day, and the oil price is basically where it was, within a few percent at the start of the war.
Wow.
But that's the price of oil, and that's the price of oil in the futures market. So all your followers are going to be so familiar with this. Stop me if you've heard this before. You have this commodity, 2:29 in the morning. Somebody comes in and drops 3,000 or 4,000 contracts in a single 1 minute moment. Drives the price down to some new level. You know, this happens to silver constantly, right?
Yes.
But then that's the new price.
And gold.
It's the most mysterious thing, right? They just knock it down, and then that's the new price. It sort of like hangs at. And so this is not price discovery. This is price setting, and I've been watching it long enough. I just couldn't believe that they could do it in the oil market, Mike.
Yeah, because it's so big.
It's so big.
Right. Silver's a tiny market.
Tiny. But they did it to oil, and they've been doing it. So that's oil. So now I have to wander over and, well, where's the real signal? And the real signal's in finished products, particularly in diesel.
Yeah.
And you look at diesel prices and you see that full effect of that. Diesel has never been more expensive than it is in the US right now. And it's up almost 100% from the start of the war, which is where oil should be, at least. And so we're seeing the real signal there. Now, we're starting to get into legitimate concerns about actual shortages, which is different from a high price. A high price is just market clearing, price demand, and
up until now,
This guy looks weird. I don't even like the way it's fucking doing. Canada wouldn't do that. Canada has no army. So Canada wouldn't bar us of oil. Let's be real. Let me see. You see,
particularly in Michigan.
this is why you can't trust Twitter or X, because it comes up with some garbage like this. Okay, it comes up with some garbage of like, okay, well, we might be heading to an economic. Canada could plunge parts of the U.S. into darkness and spike gas prices. Okay, I get that. That's a possibility. That could happen. But what if like a nuke? Okay, that's like saying what if the U.S. nukes Russia? Like, obviously, have some fucking common sense. Of course, bad shit's going to happen. So like, but what are the chances of this happening? Very small. So why would this even be a scenario? This is just fear mongering. Why would this even be popular on Twitter? The reason it is they're creating fear mongering, right? They want to fear monger you. They want to make you think Canada and the U.S. would go to war with each other, and it's a huge possibility. Guys, Canada would never do this. Even though Trump talks shit, yes, we're allies. But let's be realistic here. Canada would never do this to the U.S. The reason why is Canada doesn't have its own real army. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Canada has a treaty with the U.S. that has its military force. It's in full-blown protection with the U.S. It actually has treaties where if Canada ever got into a war, the U.S. is forced to go into it 100%. And if the U.S. is going to war, Canada is forced 100%. They almost act as a like side like ally. Even though there's been beef with Trump, regardless, there's still rules and laws in place that above a person, that Canada and U.S. are allies completely. So this is just dumb. Yeah, this is crazy. Bitcoin exploded to 79K. Everyone thinks the bull market's back, but no one understands what actually triggered the move. The Treasury doubled the maximum size of its long-term buy box. $4 billion per operation. 65,000 to 60, more than 4,000 instantly. Then Trump crypto put spotlights. Then the short squeeze was doing the rest. Leverage shorts were getting destroyed, forcing buying pushed BTC even higher. 4 billion now have been liquidated in just 48 hours. We'll look at this here.
Come on, baby, turn the light. I said
Ooh.
Projectiles. The U.S. has also revoked the license that allowed Iran to legally sell oil in the open market. That's the first time Iran had been able to sell oil for U.S. dollars in years. Iran had been suspected of selling oil to China illegally for a long time. And it all happens during the 6-day funeral for the late Grand.
This girl looks crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of fear in the markets here. So this gold buy that we talked about Thursday ran up to the upside. It's going to continue to keep running. It's going to continue to keep running, guys. Wait for the pullback here. Pullback will come here. Massive run, but we're going to look for buys all week this week here. You have some really balanced buys too. This is a really good pullback. Super easy to trade this. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love the intraday indicator. This right here, indicator with the intraday strategy, is the absolute best indicator to use when markets are trending. Pull back here, buy. Pull back here, buy. Pull back here, buy. Pull back tomorrow, indicator, buy. This indicator right here has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars here. So I'm excited because, to be honest, I'll be using it tomorrow and it looks like we're going to be trending upwards here. So it's going to be good. We'll look for a pullback tomorrow and start just buying the shit out of gold. USD CAD. Last time we looked at CAD was a while ago. It did rally. Might come back up and then short here. Huh, interesting. Guys, this one's going to be a quick call, okay? This will be a quick call. Wow. I'm glad I got out of my shorts here. Look at this is what happens when the US starts printing its own money again. Or what is that? US Treasury bonds, it's buyback clauses, right? So who knows if they're going to continue to keep doing this. But I did say that it would come back up to 79K, and I was right. What I'm very curious about is this area here. What happens here? What happens next is very, very, very crucial, right? So right now in the weekly, let's look at the weekly. What does it look like? Let's see what happens here at 82K. It comes back to 82. It could mitigate, liquidate, and then dump. Let's see. If not, we're going to see crypto move to the upside for sure. MSRT is seeing it. Stocks are seeing it for sure. At least certain ones. Wow, Amazon's gonna dump. All right, guys, this sums up our call here. Appreciate you guys. This was a quick one. Tomorrow we will be trading live. This is the last week before the flip challenge. This is the last week before the flip challenge. So if you want to be a part of the flip challenge, make sure you stay connected with us. Send Shania or Nadia a message on Discord, okay? If you want to be part of this week's flip challenge, next week's flip challenge, you must send, okay, a message in the group chat, okay, with Nadia or Shania, because they will get you set up here correctly to get onboarded into the flip challenge and do all of this correctly here, okay, guys? So just a quick update so everybody is aware of the flip challenge and everybody knows. But other than that, I appreciate y'all. Love y'all, and I will talk to you guys soon and see you guys tomorrow morning.